Oh god. Oh Jesus.
I used to think Prukan was the worst thing ever. Then I learned RusPrus was a thing. Now I think Prukan wasn't that bad. It's cheesy and cliché. But at least I laughed. Prussia started off as Russia's many bullies during his days as the Teutonic Knights. Many people blame Russia snapping on Prussia. But he was already a bit creepy before this. He just didn't have any power to change anything. Later on the two were sort of allies. However, Prussia is shown to be creeped out by Russia, while Russia is eager for his friendship. One of the main reasons Prussia halted his attacks during the Austrian succession was to prevent Russia from getting involved, especially after he teamed up with Austria. During this time they had a common goal in the partitions of Poland, and later on a common enemy during the Napoleonic Wars. The next time they team up is during World War II, which ended badly, and Prussia at his absolute mercy during the Iron Wall, being Russia's newest toy, poor under communism, and away from his brother. A literal nightmare. In modern day Prussia mainly tolerates Russia because he has Germany's protection. Even hearing Russia's name makes him depressed. He comments that being around him makes him vomit blood and lose 4 eyelashes. Russia of course is oblivious to this. A major issue of this ship is people misunderstanding Russia and Prussia's character. Most fanfics portray Russia as a perverted sadist who loves harming others with no redeeming qualities. However, Hetalia is a comedy, so despite being based on history, there are no truly evil characters in the series. Besides, what Russia does and what his bosses do are two separate matters. Russia may be a sadist, but he has no interest in sexual stuff. He's more concerned with making friends. Him dressing Lithuania as a maid could be inferred as sexual, but he also has an innocent reaction when stripped by France, causing the perverted nation to apologize. Russia has a very childish and flawed understanding of relationships. The Italian horror show game highlights this. He likes people with individualistic personalities like America and England. He thinks it's boring when nations don't resist, yet wants everyone to obey him. He relies heavily on force due to his upbringing. One of Russia's previous bosses was the Tsar, which was notably abusive towards him as nations must suffer alongside their people. Russia was taught by his bosses, and his own experiences with bullying, that being strong is everything. Strong people get their way, and weak people have no say. No one has really corrected this line of thinking for him. Unfortunately, that affects most of his friendships. He does very horrible things to other nations, not realizing how bad they are. The only nation excluded from this treatment is Ukraine, but they are painfully separated because of their bosses and country politics. In modern day, his past actions still haunts the minds of those he hurt. Even America, who is Russia's equal, heavily relies on making Russia an enemy in his movies despite them being on good terms. This is just something Russia has to deal with as he hopefully changes for the better. Instead of the typical bad boy cliché, RusPrus fanfics tend to portray Prussia as a submissive doormat that could rival Lithuania, or a rebellious spirit under Russia. Both are wrong. Prussia thrives on being a jerk for no reason unless you're Germany or the Italy brothers, meaning he's very petty. This is shown in his relationship with Austria, Hungary, Poland, Lithuania, and of course Russia. He still hasn't forgotten about his time with Russia, and tends to treat him rather harshly in modern day. The closest the two were was during the French Revolution and Napoleonic Wars, but during this time everyone was teaming up on France, meaning he had no real choice. Plus he still found him creepy. Many RusPrus shippers rely on nostalgia as a reason for the pairing's complex longing for each other. What is nostalgia? Nostalgia is a longing East Germans have for the old days when they were separated from West Germany as the German Democratic Republic. Prussia is said to experience nostalgia as well, but to a degree. Of course he'll enjoy a culture that basically worships him being the narcissist he is. But he has no resentment for his brother like the East has for the West. Even when he became poorer than his rich capitalism brother. Prussia is very overprotective of his brother, so the whole Berlin Wall situation wouldn't have sat well with him. As soon as he left Russia, he goes to move in with his brother. Russia also restricted a lot of Prussia's freedom during this time. Being the free spirit that he is, this is basically torture, outside being forced to hang out with Russia. But there wasn't much Prussia could do against Russia. Similar to his time under Poland and France, Prussia stayed obedient to Russia just like the Baltics, until the 1989 revolutions. As a disclaimer, there's no such thing as a bad ship. However, most RusPrus stories are problematic. It's very easy to write Russia as a villain, and rely on popular BL clichés. But very rarely can you find a non-smut fanfic, as there is no real substance for a relationship when they both are in character. People rather treat them as the perfect dark couple to the more cutesy pairings. The Shadow and Rouge to Sonic and Sally. But even Shadow and Rouge have a healthy relationship. If the Sonic franchise can do it right, there is no excuse. But I understand why people read stuff like that. After reading a million fics of cutesy stuff, you want to ruin yourself a little. You want to have no morals. You want to experience life on the edge. Then go back to your boring life. Such as writing. I actually like seeing the duo together, because their interactions are funny, and kind of sad.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Keep my holy sword, Mission Bar!
Wait,
Your sword's not that big.